Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee, Wednesday, 6th of November, 9:22 in the morning. Very nice day today. 71 already, 83 high, low 61, sunny. Nice weather. Okay, I'm going to jump into the live stream, make sure we got sound and picture, put a few posts up while we wait for people to come in. Nice weather. Okay. I'll go as quick as I can. All right, I'm just going to put my email address up in there. Okay, got all that done. Being a Bible-believing site, Old and New Testament, I'm going to do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. So what we're going to cover today is going to be a little bit different. It sure looks like Trump won the election. They haven't officially declared it, but Fox News, Reuters, and somebody else said that he won. They declared him the winner. He won. Okay, that happened already. Has Kamala conceded the election yet? No. Let me take a quick look at the count real quick. Just give me a second, we'll get an update on that. Wait a second. The Republicans got the Senate. I don't know about the House. I'm trying to take a look. The Republicans are ahead in the House. They got 192 to 165 to the Democrats. So it looks like you might see Trump as the president, and he has a Republican House and Senate, which is going to be amazing. Okay. I'm trying to get the latest electoral votes. So it looks like they'll have the House and the Senate, which is a tremendous, absolute tremendous lead. Makes Trump's life very easy. The latest electoral votes I'm getting is 266 for Trump, 194 for Kamala, and one of them hits 270, that's it. So Trump needs 4 more electoral votes to hit the win, and Kamala has to get 76 more electoral votes. So, it's basically over. There's 9 states that have 76 electoral votes that have not been called. Harris needs 76 of the 77 to win, and Trump only needs 4. The states that are still hanging around out there are Nevada, where Trump has a slight lead of 51%. Wisconsin, where Trump has a slight lead of 51%. New Jersey, again, Trump has like a 51% lead. Minnesota, Trump has 50%. Michigan, Trump has 52%. No, New Hampshire, 51.8. Michigan, 52. Alaska, 55% for Trump. Arizona, 50. And Harris got Maine over Trump. But when I'm saying Trump got 51, 50%, they're putting Harris down in the 40s, like 46, 47 percent, 45 and 1%. So it would be completely insane if she got 76 out of the 77 electoral votes and Trump didn't get 4. It's not going to happen. Trump won. Okay? So now we need to, look, it might take 3 or 4 more hours or even a little longer until they have the official results, but he's got it, okay? Elon Musk already flew over to Mar-a-Lago to hang out with Trump. I believe Trump's going to make Elon Musk Secretary of State. Now, before you think that's bad, let me explain something to you. Trump's a businessman. Politicians don't do anything. They get up there and they lie, and they lie, and they lie, and they play games behind the scenes. That's all they do. Trump's not really a politician. He became one later in life. Elon Musk is not a politician. He's about to become one, okay? So, he would probably perform better than a politician who's basically a stuffed shirt. They're all just stuffed shirts, okay? Now, after years in the job, they may learn some stuff, but they're generally, dummkopfs, and they just lie. They all lie and they lie and they lie. Or you may want to say they don't lie, they just have unfulfilled promises, depending how you want to phrase it, So, let me go in the chat. Somebody's putting cuss language up there. Trump won. Oh, he's at 277. I just checked with NBC, and I didn't get it, but I figured he won. Let me go back and check again. I'm not going to block this guy, but I'm going to remove his foul language post. Make America safe for creepy old men again. Okay. Would you perhaps like us to pray that you die young, genius? You think you saved America. You saved America from the Democrats. That's worth something. But don't think you're out. You're not out of the clear, guys. Oh, people want to put praises to Trump. I'm just going to leave him alone today. Let me go check and see if the 277 really happened. It probably did, but I didn't get that high of a count yet. Let's see what I come up with. No, I'm getting from NBC at 266. Why? I don't know where they're getting the 277 from. Not that I'm thinking they're lying, I'm just not getting it. I'm getting 267. I'm not getting 277. I'm getting Harris at 214 now and Trump at 267. She ain't never going to make it. No, it's over in my opinion. It's over. Okay. Now, you're going into the most dangerous, treacherous, critical mass days that the world has seen in thousands of years between now and January 20th. You may not believe that, okay? But Trump, when you have to look at this realistically, okay? And before we get into it, do I think Trump is much better for Israel? With all the facts, looking at it, yes. Do I think that he's really good for Israel? I do. Okay. But do I think Trump is president yet? No, I'm not that stupid. Okay. You basically got November, December, and most of January. You have almost you got 2.5 months probably before Trump becomes president. Now, you've heard me reference Biden as "Oh Biden," right? You know what that means. So, now we all know about Trump's criminal cases and how, let's use the word, unusual they are. Okay? Especially to go after a ex-president. I mean, it's unprecedented. Okay? And you should realize that Trump is vindictive. He wants his revenge. And Trump is not about to leave powerful deep state potential enemies out for his destruction. There was assassination attempts that were mysterious, with unexplained circumstances, with the Secret Service and everything. Is he going to just let this lay and keep letting them take pot shots at him, knowing that if they take enough pot shots, they're probably going to get lucky and get one in? No. Think about it. This whole, Jake Sullivan, he's Secretary of State, Austin, Secretary of Defense, Jake Sullivan is the Homeland Security Secretary, whatever the title is, and Blinken is Secretary of State. All three of these bozos served under Obama. He trained them. Do you think they don't have loyalty to him? Do you think Biden, who worked as his vice president for 8 years, doesn't have loyalty to him? Kamala becomes a nothing so far, unless something happens to Biden. So, they got a real serious problem if Trump gets in office. What you can expect with 99.9% certainty is Trump will revamp the CIA with his people running it. He will revamp the Department of Justice with his people running it. He will revamp the National Security Agency with his people running it. He will revamp the Pentagon with his people running it. He will revamp Homeland Security with his people running it. And then the investigations will begin. And he will uncover all sorts of stuff. Believe me, he will, because there's a bunch of people in there, and ICE too, Immigration Customs Enforcement, he'll revamp them also. And there's a lot of people in there that resent Biden. And, you know, there's probably going to be a purge of shredding documents and stuff like that. But they're going to, you know, it's not going to work out well for them, because the Democrats would be trying to hold broken eggs in their hand. And the New York City people that hunted him down and ran him up on 47 low-level felony charges, you think Trump's not going to have them investigated? Trump's got to clear these cases off, so he'll have them investigated. They might still try to put Trump in jail between now and January 20th. How does that work? Now, let me tell you something that is a little bit shocking, and I don't want you to think that this is the gospel. That's sarcastic, I don't mean it that way. This is not something that is really seriously going to happen, but I'll read it to you. There's a Democrat Congress guy from Maryland named Jamie Raskin. He went to some non-government lecture and he made a public comment that, and he did it on record, it was recorded. I listened to it. He said that it's up to the Democrats to now have the Congress disqualify Trump. And then he was saying that we're all going to need bodyguards because of the Civil War in the United States. The guy's name is Congressman Jamie Raskin. Now, he is basically not a very important person at all in the Congress, but if he said it publicly and it was recorded, there's other people that are moving in this direction too. I want to look up when the Congress gets sworn in. If I remember correctly, it's before the president. Let's take a look. I'll get it in a second, I think. It's hard as heck to find a date. Why don't they want to have a date? I think the new Congress meets on January 3rd, so they would have to be sworn in that day. It is not very hard to swear him in. It would probably, with all the formalities, be over in an hour. So they, I think I have this right, they get sworn in before the president. So that means in early January, the first week in January, the Senate and likely, although not determined finally, the House of Representatives will be Republican. So that would limit Biden's power immensely because they could veto stuff that he does. And, you know, they could do all sorts of things. So if there's going to be a move, it has to be before January 3rd. Now, this is where we start getting into some of the ins and outs of this, okay? What is customary is when the president, the new president, wins the election, he becomes president-elect, right? And the Secret Service detail swarms all over him with extreme protection, which I think Trump already has. But if he doesn't have it now, he'll have it in a day or two. He doesn't get to use Air Force One and stuff like that, all right? But he gets super Secret Service protection. Now, normally what they do is they start briefing the president, okay? So the head of the CIA will start having meetings. They could be teleconferences, they could be in person, they could be in Mar-a-Lago, they could be in the CIA headquarters, wherever. And they start briefing the president about what's going on. And this is done before January 20th, so the president could hit the ground running. So he'd be getting briefed from the Biden administration heads of CIA, NSA, Justice, Homeland Security, you know, etc., right? Also the Treasury, Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, many agencies would be briefing him on the critical things and what's going on, budgetary constraints, and last but not least, the Pentagon. Now, the Biden administration might conceal information from Trump, but I don't think they would because they don't have complete control of everything in these agencies. There's a lot of people that dislike the Biden administration. So Trump would have, in the coming days, tremendous amount of intel on many things. He would know what's happening in Chile. Okay, he would know what's happening in South Africa, Algeria, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Taiwan, South Korea, China, Philippines, you know, all this stuff. He'd get all the secret intel. And it wouldn't be just him, it would be his staff also. Okay? Even though they're not, he doesn't have the cabinet, you know, sworn in, it would be, you know, he could send assistants to get briefed. You know, so anyway, this is what you need to glean out of this. Trump, in a few days, is going to have access to a lot of critical intelligence around the world. And there are hotspots: North, South Korea, China, Taiwan, Japan, the Philippines, Guam, Russia, Ukraine, Romania, Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Iran, Lebanon, Gaza, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, all of this stuff, right? Now, Netanyahu is actually quite friendly with Trump. They seem to really get along. And Netanyahu has his hands full here, as you know. So I expect that Netanyahu will probably visit Mar-a-Lago, because I'm sure Trump will be operating out of Mar-a-Lago till he's sworn in. Or they might teleconference, probably in person. And Netanyahu will come with 4 or 5 people. And I believe Trump would brief Netanyahu quietly about the information that he was briefed on. And basically, I don't think he could say, here, look at these highly classified documents, make pictures of them, or whatever, you know. But I think he could give Netanyahu advice legally about what to do and what not to do. He's not the president yet, so I don't think he could just share it with an ally. But he could certainly give Netanyahu advice based on that intel, along with his staff and along with Netanyahu's staff. Okay? So Netanyahu is about to pick up a lot of valuable information. Now, the Biden administration can decide they don't want to share this intel with Trump. And the recourse available to President-elect Trump would be, I don't know if there is any such thing. Now, they wouldn't just say that. They would share intel with him that would be the fluff. The stuff that wouldn't mean anything. Old intel, weak intel, and intel about nothing, like the pistachio nut harvest in Iran. You know, stuff like that, right? And make it look good, but not give him any really meaningful data he could act on. Okay? Trump would also be able to advise Netanyahu about what the intent is in the Biden administration regarding what Netanyahu does regarding the wars. Okay? So Netanyahu is going to stand in the coming days to gain a lot of valuable intel that I'm reasonably sure the Biden administration is not in the habit of sharing with Israel. They share some stuff, but they don't give it all. And also Netanyahu will know what America's doing behind the scenes undercover that he doesn't know about, maybe. Now, I believe Netanyahu's going to sort of be polite to the Biden administration, but no longer listen to them about anything. That's not what I think. If anybody can stop the threat of BRICS destroying the economy of the United States by pushing the value of the dollar down, it would be Trump. As a businessman, he would understand the concepts involved, and he would be able to take action. But I'm afraid the only viable action would be violent. I don't think you have any other way of doing it. You're not going to go to China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, and another 23 countries and say, we would really like you to just stop with the BRICS thing and go back on the US dollar. They'll say, sure, what's in it for us? And Trump, the first thing would be no more sanctions, let us do what we want, give us our free, it's ridiculous. Trump can't take that path of action. It's not viable. It'd be destructive to the United States. You can't. They are so close to destroying the United States economy, they're not going to stop. They may try to accelerate it and get a real mess going against the US dollar before January 20th. They probably could get there. There's enough time to make serious damage. Once the damage is made, it's not so easy to correct it. What the damage done in a month may take a year to correct. Now, will the Biden administration torpedo America to give Trump a completely impossible task and then try to impeach Trump early on in his term and get him thrown out. With a Republican House and Senate, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see that at all. Will the Biden administration want to mess things up for Trump? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is that you? Hello? Oh, okay. I want to make sure it's you. Were you able to hit the machine? Did the machine operate? The ATM thing. You want me to open the front door? Okay, hold on. Give me a second, guys. Just a couple of seconds. The reason I closed it is because Bueller participation yard barking from inside. So let's assume Biden does give Netanyahu the briefing, and then to give Trump the briefing, and then Trump shares it with Netanyahu. It's going to help Israel a lot before Trump's in office. Now, Iran told Qatar and Egypt that they intend to do a ground invasion of Israel. And they're intending to do this before January 20th. Now let's analyze this. Before we get into the feasibility of such a ground invasion, let's look at why. Because these psychotics in Iran think that if they decimate Israel before Trump gets in, and Biden may do nothing, which is a possibility for sure, they can get away with it because they get in, they destroy Israel, kill a few 100,000 people, wreck Israel, people have to emigrate out of Israel, and then Trump gets in and he's mad, and then Israel says, well, you know, there's no reason for worry anymore, Donald. We did it and we're done. Well, what Trump will do if Iran does stage for this, Trump will tell Iran through diplomatic channels or through friends of his, whatever, or publicly in the media, that he will overthrow the Khomeini regime if they do attack Israel and they're successful. As soon as he gets into office, he's going to destroy their government and overthrow them. And the Iranians aren't very smart. They're delusional. So they'll think about this and not going to like it. Because they don't know what's going to happen. So if you think Trump had a lot of assassination attempts, some mysterious and some just lunatics, you ain't seen nothing yet. Okay? But his enhanced Secret Service protection should do the trick. Should. It doesn't mean it's a guarantee, but it should. If Trump were assassinated, does that mean Kamala Harris is president or they have a new election? Well, I think the reasonable thing would be a new election, but they may not do that. So we also have to consider assassination attempts, which I'm sure Russia, Iran, China, North Korea, and another 15 or 20 countries would love to see happen. Biden is good for a lot of people except America and Israel. He's horrible to America. Look what he did with the borders. America can't support the world. Biden has messed up this whole Ukraine-Russia thing, hasn't he? I mean, it's just the amount of money America threw into this Ukraine war is probably enough to provide government-built housing for all the homeless people. But America is never, philanthropic towards their own people. Well, it hasn't been in, like 100 years or almost that long. They don't care. Hurricanes, floods, fires, they don't go around and get housing for the people. They let them live in tents. They don't care. They figure if God brings floods and tornadoes and hurricanes on, let God take care of the people. They don't care. The wealthy people, the elite, they don't mind. They get out of town before the flood or the hurricane, and then they got multiple houses. They just buy more houses. They don't. I mean, they're inconvenienced, but it's not anything like what it is for regular people. They don't go live on the side of the road. Let me keep an eye on the chat here for a minute. I'm going to go through it real quick. Iran is shaking in their boots. Iran is boxed in right now. They're very nervous about Trump. I don't know why these people come in here and make nasty remarks. They're probably juveniles. And this is a symptom of America. They grow up and they're so twisted in their minds. What gives them pleasure is going into a chat with adults, probably Christians or believers in the Bible, and insulting and putting foul language in. They enjoy that. Do you know how far gone you have to be when you reach that point where that gives you pleasure? These people are goners. Do you understand that? Think about it. That's what they do. They run around posting this stuff at odd hours of the day and night, and it gives them pleasure. That's pretty bad, isn't it? That's the state of America. It's not good. So you've got to worry about what will the Democrats do operating through the various branches of the government to stop Trump from being sworn in. They could try to get him arrested on his criminal cases or put in jail. There's a risk of assassination, which is not through official channels, but somebody could assassinate Trump, let's put it that way. But I think it's unlikely with heavy Secret Service protection as a president-elect. I'm not expecting that. It could be, but I'm not expecting it. I mean, you don't know. Russia could put 6 or 8 missiles into Mar-a-Lago when Trump's there. What's the Secret Service going to do? Boom, 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 shoot the missiles down. Maybe they have a Patriot system there. Maybe they got shoulder-fired anti-missile missiles there. But still, Russia's submarines could put even a dozen or so, or even 16 missiles simultaneously, plus drones, at Mar-a-Lago and wipe it out. I don't think that's in Russia's playbook. I don't think they'll do it. And the other thing is, I'm rather confident that Trump has a bomb shelter in Mar-a-Lago, a safe room that's probably underground, and you would need to get, substantial bunker buster bombs to get them. So if they detected a missile coming in, if the military did, and the military would be watching for Trump in the waters off Mar-a-Lago, they'll probably have Coast Guard boats or Navy boats there, or both, several, protecting Trump from a submarine type attack or something. So I don't expect to see Trump get assassinated, and it could happen, but I'm not seeing it. So I think the real risk is, one, they get somebody to arrest Trump, probably New York, or the Congress actually tries to say Trump's disqualified, which I don't know how realistic that is. And I don't think it's very realistic. Or Biden just throws the world and America into a state of chaos, and he might try martial law and suspend something with Trump getting sworn in. It would be dictatorial, but I don't know. They're not going to just sit still, but they may have no other choice. I don't know. Now, what Biden could do, why did he send B-52s to Asia the other day? Is he threatening and just posturing over there? Or is it possible he's going to deploy against North Korea? North Korea launched another missile like 3 days ago or so, and they said that it would be able to reach the United States. I don't believe that it would, let alone accurately, but they're saying that. I think the government is saying that. So they're beating the war drum for North Korea. Is it possible that the United States could hit North Korea and at the same time Russia stands down and doesn't go to war over it? Yeah, it's like Russia and Iran. Israel can bomb Iran and Russia's not going to do much about it. So the American military analysts may have come to a decision that they could bomb North Korea to protect South Korea. Like there's 700 offensive weapons lined on the border between North and South Korea on the North Korea side that are long-range artillery that could go 40 miles. They use rocket-propelled shells and pods of various range and warhead-sized missiles. And that could cause a very serious, substantial amount of damage to South Korea. And they could invade. North Korea could invade. South Korea can invade North Korea. So the B-52s would be able to go in there and blow up all these weapons. So America might try something like that. North Korea doesn't have any substantial ground-to-air defense systems against planes and missiles. Nothing good. So they could go in and bomb those offensive weapons stationed on the border of South Korea and then call it quits. It would take 2, 3, 4 hours, That's it. And China might look at it and say, they blew up a bunch of artillery and missiles. Do we really want to go to war over that? And likely decide not. America would make it rather plain and obvious that this was just a strike on the weapons, and that's the end of it. And of course, South Korea would join in. Now, North Korea has done a lot of things to irritate the United States, giving weapons to Russia to use missiles, drones, I think basically missiles, for Russia to use in Ukraine, which makes the United States and NATO have to give more billions of dollars of money to Ukraine because the war drags on longer. And North Korea went so far as to send 11 or 12,000 troops over to Russia, which I believe Russia put them in Russian uniforms, probably swore them into the Russian army, and deployed them in Ukraine as basically cannon fodder. Although they're supposed to be special forces, who knows? And North Korea could have, 10 or 15 different levels of special forces. And he might be in the habit of giving, beautiful colored berets and uniforms and badges and patches to people that his military declares special forces that are just barely more than regular infantry or something like that. I don't know. It's probably not the case, but I don't know. So America is ticked off at North Korea, and then these threatening missiles and rockets, and they've destroyed all the roads and highways between North and South Korea, and bridges and railroad tracks to stop any sort of invasion into North Korea by South Korea. So their plan would be to attack with artillery and missiles and stop a ground invasion coming in from South Korea. So if Biden decides to attack all those 700 weapons, it reduces the tensions in the region big time. It sends a message to North Korea that they better not rebuild those missiles and artillery by the border. And China may likely stand down, and tensions are reduced in the area tremendously. Now, China and Taiwan is another matter. So that's my take on why they're bringing B-52s in. It's not just as the threat, okay? They've got destroyers, missile cruisers, those small aircraft carriers that take the vertical takeoff planes, and helicopters that carry troops. That all of that stuff's there, many of them, and a lot of aircraft. So their deterrent value was in place before the B-52s came in, I think, yesterday. And the deterrent value was worthless. It didn't deter North Korea. So they bring the B-52s in, but I think this is not a deterrent. This is an actual, going to be an actual attack. And it's a warning to North Korea, but they're probably not going to heed it. They're like Iran. They're not. It would be rather difficult for America with South Korea, with Japan, with NATO, with Australia, with the UK to go do a ground invasion in North Korea. The terrain is very rough, very difficult. Winter is here. Very cold and bitter there. And it would take hundreds of thousands of troops, and America's just not going to do that. They would just blow the weapons up that are on the border with South Korea, which puts them in range, and then if North Korea restaged with more weapons again, they would just blow it up again. They might, if they're blowing things like this up, they would probably go a little bit further and take out some radar, or quite a bit of radar that North Korea has to open the path for bombers. Okay, they would blow up ammo dumps, missile dumps, drone factories, missile factories, ammunition factories, things that are above ground that are easily taken out. And they would take some of those out and send a pretty harsh message to North Korea. Now, if North Korea saw this coming and said, well, they want a war with us, we'll give a war with them, and then just before everything is destroyed, open up on South Korea, then things would get, of course, out of hand. But as long as America and her allies are doing limited strikes into North Korea, damaging military equipment that could be replaced quite easily, I don't think you'll see China enter into the war. But tensions are still very high. Now, Trump may, in fact, try to make a deal with Putin about Ukraine. But the Trump has another problem that he's very aware of, and that's BRICS. So anything he's going to do with Russia is going to require Russia to cut it out with BRICS. And Russia isn't really likely to do that. So I don't see any serious chance of any meaningful peace with Russia. We don't know what the left wing in America is going to do or not do about this. They're going to wait to see Trump getting sworn in, of course, or maybe just wait for official election results, and then you might see this "he's not my president" stuff flare up, and riots and protests, and it could be so extreme martial law sets in, and this would be a perfect time for the sleeper agents in America to be launched against American military bases, cities, towns, everything. So Trump would be inheriting a complete mess if America was still intact by January. Don't underestimate the viciousness of the Biden administration. Just don't. They were obviously trying to change America for what most people would consider the worst by opening the door to tens of millions of illegals to enter the country illegally. And that is, if he would do that, he would do many other things between now and January 20th, and we know that Biden has done many other things. So, is Iran dumb enough to try a ground invasion against Israel? Well, Iran may figure that America, now that they lost the war, won't do anything. It's impossible that they lost the election. It's impossible that America now, Biden will, he's got Israel in a bad position, just pull the military out of the Middle East. I expect something sick to come out of the Biden administration. And the Bible prophecy is there, and I'll read it to you. Let me take a second and see if we got any updates on electoral votes. Let's see. they're showing everything, but let me go back and what the heck? Well, they're not any longer revealing. Let me get another site. Give me a second. Huh. They're not putting them up now. I don't know why they took it down. Let's see what the New York Times is saying. They're just saying New York Times is giving Trump 95% chance. I'd give him 99. But I want to see if the count on electoral votes changed. Let's see. Nobody wants to reveal that anymore. They were, and now they stopped. But why would they all stop at the same time? Somebody's got to have it. Let's see. The latest I'm getting now is Trump declared a victory and Harris has not conceded. I think eventually she'll concede, but she's probably hanging on. I'm seeing one place that still has Trump at 267, and it has Harris up at 224. So Trump needs 3 votes, and she needs 46. Doesn't look good for her. Let's see if CNN has the latest here. looking around. The New York Times is estimating that Trump will get 312 electoral votes to Harris 226. You know, it's shocking to me that the American people would actually vote for a nincompoop like Kamala Harris to such an extent. I mean, it's like, what the heck, you know? It's shocking. But on the other hand, it's also real. Well, I think it's going to take a couple more hours till it's finally over. I guess the reason the updates are not coming in very quick is some of the states haven't finished, so there's not much to update. They're waiting. I think there's another 8 states to go, something like that. But I can't really sit there and say, well, you know, that he's going to lose. Trump already declared himself the winner. I don't think he's that stupid. He wouldn't do it unless he was rather confident that it's over. So I think it might take another 2, 3, 4 hours till we get all the votes tallied and it's official. So Netanyahu fired Gallant, our defense minister, just before the election. Now this was no coincidence, believe me. Okay, Gallant was in Biden's court. He was thought by many Israelis to be an agent or a buddy of the Biden administration, be it Jake Sullivan or Biden himself, I don't know, or Austin or who knows what. And he was working on the prodding and guidance of America to get Netanyahu to use restraint in Gaza, Lebanon, and Iran, and Yemen. Blinken, that twit, said to Israel, I think yesterday, that we still haven't complied with enough humanitarian aid to Gaza. These are the people that would celebrate by passing out, the civilians would celebrate by passing out sweet candy when Israelis were getting killed. We don't believe there are innocent civilians above maybe 10% in Gaza. Lebanon is different. Gaza is different than Lebanon. But we're supposed to give them humanitarian aid. I never see America do that. Now we're seeing humanitarian aid from Iraq come into Syria in trucks, which is bogus. They're weapons, missiles. Iran is trying. What do they need to send humanitarian aid for Syria for? Nobody's starving in Syria. They got water, you turn the faucet on, you got water, you flush the toilet. You go to the doctor to get medicine. You got drugstores to go to, right? You don't need to go to You don't need to go, give them humanitarian aid. So I imagine we'll blow that up. They take it into Syria, then they bring it up by Lebanon, and they try to cross in. And last night we did a lot of bombing on the point where the Syria goes into Lebanon, where those weapons would be going. But now it seems they're just bringing them into Syria to stage them in Syria to attack us. So Iran is gearing up for an attack on us, and it looks like they're going to try sending missiles from Iraq. There can likely be radars still active in Iraq and in Syria that they would attempt to use to bring missiles or guide missiles into Israel targets. Is it possible that they could launch missiles from Iran and get them to travel into Iraq or Syria, and then from there they could be guided by the radar in Iraq and Syria? This is pretty far-fetched. I don't think they have anything resembling that capability. How would they get the missiles into the right area of Syria to get on the radar there? So I don't think that. And I think Israel's going to eventually knock out the radar. So Gallant was an agent of Biden. Biden was inviting him to the White House without Netanyahu. The Austin, the American Secretary of Defense, was meeting with Gallant without Netanyahu there. So Gallant was spilling the beans to the Biden administration and taking direction from them. And he probably was being told by the Biden administration that after the election, and we win, we'll push for you to become the prime minister of Israel. And Netanyahu saw it as a threat. Marked this time, and I think it was yesterday, he fired him. He just threw him out of office, which is the power to do. Now, he then appointed a guy named Israel Katz, the foreign minister of Israel, moved him over to defense minister. Okay? Katz is in Netanyahu's pocket. Katz is not going to play games behind Netanyahu's back with Biden or try to slow the war down and things like this. So Israel had a lot of ugly demonstrations last night. There was fires, fighting with soldiers, fighting with police. It was very ugly over the Golan getting fired. Now, I'm a little surprised that a lot of Israelis would take to the streets over this, because I don't really understand what value they saw in Golan. I certainly didn't see anything in him. But they'll quiet down. I don't think there's going to be a civil war, revolution, or anything even getting close to it. They're mad, they'll calm down. That's what I think will happen. But there were ugly protests. Basically, Gallant could be seen as a check and balance against Netanyahu that was removed. So Netanyahu's more in a dictatorial role and unfettered. The guy that's the chief of the IDF, not the Minister of Defense, which Gallant was, he's going to get changed too in the coming days. So this means that the attack on Iran, in my book, is going to be an amazingly big attack. Israel knows Iran's radar is out, and they can't guide missiles into Israel with anything resembling accuracy. By that I mean, when they had radar, they were able to hit within a half mile. Okay? Without their radar, I think their hit range could be anywhere from 25 to 100 miles. I mean, it's just, you can't send missiles 1,000 miles. I mean, they may not even hit Israel. It could be that bad. So they had weapons stored in Iraq, and they brought more in, so they're obviously planning on using Iraq radar, being dumbbells. they don't realize that Israel already took out a lot of Iraq radar to clear a path to Iran. They'll just take out more radar in Iraq very shortly, and the same in Syria. And then those missiles aren't going to be that effective. But when you talk in Syria, when you get close to us, you might be able to just point the missile at Israel. You know, if you're talking 70, 100 miles, point the missile at Israel, line it up where you think it is, control the fuel supply so you know when you can shut the fuel off and the thing will just come falling down, and take pot shots at Israel. Now, the accuracy would probably be within 5 miles or something like that, 10 miles, but if you send enough of them, you might get lucky and cause some damage. But Israel's going to have to be attacking those missiles as well. The fact that we're not doing it right now makes me think Netanyahu has reasons to believe that Iran's just trying to stage and threaten and scare Israel as a deterrent from further attacks, hoping they can get fighter jets, which they want to buy from Pakistan and Russia, and get pilots trained or have foreign pilots fly them and try to do air attacks against Israel. But these are non-stealth jets, and they're not going to get through our air defenses nor escape dogfights with our fighters. So it's not, these are not great jets they're going to get. So it's not going to be pretty substantial, and also Israel can bomb where the jets are being kept, unless they're being kept in underground hangars, which Iran does have. So we don't know. We know in the prophecies, Jeremiah 50:51, it says, America, daughter of Babylon, shall do evil in our sight. Okay? The Israeli sight. So now that this thing happened in America, where I'm of the opinion that it's more likely to see Biden do evil to Israel than Trump. So these next, December, 2 months or something, or a little over 2 months, 2.5 months, I guess, Biden may start becoming very ugly to Israel. Biden may also have some crazy plan to throw the world into war. How? All he's got to do is call Ukraine up on the phone and say, start sending your long-range HIMARS missiles into Moscow and St. Petersburg. And then Russia's going to go nuts. And Russia said if that happens, he's going to go after NATO. He may or may not. You know, you got to remember that Putin is posturing himself also, trying to create deterrent. But we've crossed probably 20 red lines with Putin since the Ukraine war, and he's done nothing about anything. So just because Putin says it doesn't mean he'll do it, but you never know. There's a point where Putin would have to take action against NATO, or the people in his own country may just put a bullet in his head, or disappear him, or say he had a heart attack, or he fell off a roof, or his helicopter crashed, and overthrow the government, and then Medvedev would probably take over, and he's way more right-wing than Putin, which would accelerate the demise of Russia. By the way, the other day, it could be back as far as 3 or 4 days, even 5 days, the commander of the IRGC in Iran died in a helicopter crash in Iran. Now, Israel has the habit of calling these helicopters of Iran Electors, which is kind of a joke. So did Israel bring down that helicopter? Well, Israel won't admit it, and it could be a coincidence. You never know. But I think either Israel or America had something to do with it, for sure. Now, why do I say that? I'll explain. Iran, I don't remember this guy's name, but he's dead, so what's the difference? His name is deceased, you know. He was the #1 guy in the IRGC. All right. So Iran has declared this guy a martyr, giving him a martyr's funeral, burial, whatever you want to call it, right? Declaring him to be a martyr. Now, if you are a Muslim and you're living in a hot country with war like Gaza or Lebanon, and you're a member of Hamas and you're a member of Hezbollah or whatever, right? And you get on your motorcycle and you're going to go to the grocery, you get groceries, and you put the bags on the groceries in the back of your motorcycle. You're driving by and you hit a tin can, it flips the motorcycle, you fall, you break your neck, and you're dead. That's not being a martyr. You were not. What did you do? Right? You didn't get killed in combat. If you get a heart attack and die, you're not a martyr. If you choke on a piece of pita bread and die, you're not a martyr. Now, they might be taking the posture if you die in an accident in the military, you're a martyr, but that's not the Muslim way. But they declared him to be a martyr. So why would they do that? Because they probably have good reason to believe his helicopter was sabotaged. But Israel knows that they did it, if they really did do it, which they probably did. And Iran knows Israel did it. But Israel doesn't go rub their face in it. They don't stick them in the mud and pull their head out with all the mud on their face. They just leave it alone. Because the message is clear to Iran. Okay? We killed your top dog in the IRGC. La di da di da. The witch is dead. The witch is dead. Ding dong. The witch is dead. The head of the IRGC is going to say he's a Muslim, but he's a straight up Satanist. Come on, he doesn't buy that stuff. So they had to declare him a martyr, but they're not supposed to do it just because something, if you have a car crash or a plane crash, it doesn't mean you're a martyr. They could have stretched it and saying, well, he was in performing his duties as an IRGC, but that's not really it. It could be that they did it that way, but I think they know. If Israel blew him up, would sabotage it for a takedown with a missile or something, that would make him a martyr by their definitions, and they did declare him a martyr, so I believe that the Israelis took out the helicopter, as I like to call it. And that obviously irritated Iran, you know, but they're not going to likely go out and say, we need revenge for the targeted killing of our general, because then they lose face. See how stupid they are? They're like more like children. They're like 12-year-olds or 14-year-olds, you know? Okay? So, you need to understand right now we're in critical mass. Iran is thinking if we want to get anything done, we better attack Israel before January 20th. And then, if we're not victorious, oh well. And if we are victorious, we'll just deal with Trump somehow. We'll worry about it later. Okay? The illegal aliens, a retired Border Patrol guy from ICE, which is Immigration Customs Enforcement, that was running a big office in Texas, said that if Kamala wins the election, the flow of illegal aliens will just be the same. But then he said if Trump wins the election, which I would say already happened, Trump will be a threat to people that have been planning to sneak into America with an illegal border crossing. And there's going to be a surge of illegal aliens into America between now and January 20th, or probably between now and March. Listen, Trump's not going to get in and all of a sudden go abracadabra and big walls are going to pop up on the border. He's got to find budget for it. Then he has to get bids from companies, look at their ideas for walls. Then it doesn't take 5 or 10 days to put hundreds of miles of walls in. It takes a long time. But he could probably, within a week or two, severely, by February 1st anyway, severely curtail the flow of illegals. Have the ICE people work with the local law enforcement in the communities in America, and possibly even put military there, and they could curtail it. I mean, it's not hard. Helicopter flights are going to do it. Let me put it into perspective. This is all you got to do to end it. And I don't know if Trump got the guts to do it. You go into the United States maybe 50 feet or even 50 yards. It's fine, 50 yards, okay? You put a lot of razor ribbon fence up, maybe 15, 18 feet tall, right? All right? Then you have a space, maybe 10 yards between the razor ribbon, and now you have an electrified fence, which is going to have like 10, 11,000 volts. So it doesn't have the amperage. So what happens if somebody touches it, it'll throw them and they'll fall off the fence. So they'll go down 10 or 12 feet. They'll get hurt. They probably won't die. All right. Then you have a 60-yard or let's even say 100-yard space. Then on the other side of that space, you have another electrified fence. And then on the other, and then 30 or 50 feet behind that, you have a nice 20, 25-foot razor ribbon fence as well. And in the area between the two electrified fences, all you got to do is put landmines in there. Signs, electrical fence, landmines, enter at your own risk. You will be killed or damaged, So if they come in, they got to penetrate all these barriers and then cover landmines. Now, the problem with this theory is, first of all, it's not very humanitarian in the eyes of the left-wing world, but Trump's not left-wing world. What's good about it is they're cheap. What's bad about it is they could take big garbage trucks, big trucks, and drive and ram them into the fences, jumping out 2 or 3 feet before they hit the fences. And they'll plow right through the fences and then go in the minefield and blow it up. And if you do that in a few times, the mines will be exploded and the fences will be down and you have a safe passage to get through. The other thing they could do is take machine guns from Mexico and strafe the no man's land and blow the mines up. Although that would be rather dangerous for them because now they're shooting live ammo into the United States, and under Trump, the ICE people would probably return fire, and that wouldn't be fun for them, especially if the return fire was coming from helicopters. All right, they could also fire shoulder-fired anti-tank rockets into no man's land, or fire RPGs and blow the landmines up that way. But what Trump really wants to do is put big secure fences in there that are not easily knocked down. He's not going to put landmines up. And then Trump's going to play roundup. And that's probably going to take him the whole 4 years. Under the Biden administration, Trump has kept his family far away from the public. Have you noticed? His daughter, the large blonde one, used to come around all the time. She was a special advisor with him or something like that. Trump is, this time when he gets in, he's going to groom his children. You're going to see and hear a lot more from them, and he's going to be grooming them to take over from him. So they're going to be in the public spotlight probably starting in January. And when it gets time to the end, Trump's got a choice. He could try to get Congress to allow for a third term for him. Now, if you got a Republican Senate and a Republican House, they would probably pass it. They would say, we're going to change it. They'd need, 66% or 75% as a constitutional amendment and say he's eligible for a third term, and then he'd run for a third term. Do I think if prophetic time allowed for that, which it doesn't, that would work? Yeah. Or he would plan on just in the last year and a half of office, say, if he wasn't going to do a third term, just say, well, my child here, whatever this person's name is he's promoting, if they become president, they'll do exactly as I do, and, get them elected that way. And the Trump dynasty marches on. And that could happen. Okay? That could really happen. So, but we're way down the road there, and I don't think prophetically we got that much time. So, I just, we have to see if the left wing is going to rise up and say he's not our president, what the right wing will do about it. I mean, there's so much now that could happen, that may never happen. The election, which is basically over, is hold on a second. The election, which is basically over, has Trump in, and it was relatively uneventful. I mean, not a lot of stuff really happened. Very little. So it might not happen, and it might be just a smooth transaction and a transition, and Trump just gets sworn in. Trump's not the Antichrist. Gosh, why do people do things like that? What they call the Antichrist is the beast who comes up out of the pit. Trump didn't come up out of the pit. Iran doesn't have nukes. They're not going to have nukes. And now that Gallant is gone and Trump won the election, you could plan on Iran getting slammed hard by Israel. I would say within a week, we'll attack them. See, Trump and Netanyahu are like this, okay? But Trump is now buried. He won the election. He's going to be interviewing with Hannity and news stations, telling the people how good it's going to be. He's going to be talking to people that want to be in his cabinet. He's going to be talking to the barons of industry. He's got a lot of things, but I imagine in a few days he'll make time for Netanyahu. Maybe sooner, because Netanyahu's got real problems right now with Iran. And he'll give Netanyahu guidance and advice. Now remember, Trump could call, you could just get on TV or tell Iran quietly, if you attack Israel, you got 2.5 months, and then I'm going to destroy you and your administration. I promise you. It'll be one of the first things I do. And what does Iran do then? Call Putin. Putin's fighting for his own life. What are they going to do? Call China. China's so cautious they're afraid to do anything. China's scared to do anything. Look at them. They don't do nothing. They futz around. So we're, we're in dangerous territory right now because we don't know what the Democrats might do or not do. It's very dangerous. And they have a vested interest in not just letting Trump walk into the White House, but that might be the case. Let's see if we get any updates on the count here. No, I'm still reading. Let's see if I can get a new update. It's the electoral votes that mean everything, The other stuff, the popular vote's interesting, but it doesn't carry. So I'm showing, according to CNN, Kamala at 205 electoral votes, and Trump at 266. Trump at 51.3% of popular, Kamala 47.2. She got 64 million votes, Trump got 69. It wasn't that far apart. Now, it's shocking that so many millions of people in America would vote for this complete deficit of a leader. It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. So I'm not seeing much change with Trump on the electoral votes, but Kamala's going up. I'm not of the opinion that Kamala's going to make it, but it is rather interesting that she's going up. I would like to see a more recent count of the electoral. No, I'm seeing 267 on Trump and 224. So Trump needs 3, and it's really hard to imagine. Trump took Pennsylvania, by the way. So it's rather far-fetched to imagine he's not going to get the 270. They say he's leading in the key races left to be called, like Michigan and Wisconsin. I think they're still waiting on Alaska, Arizona, 2 districts in Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, Wisconsin. But Reuters, Fox, and some others have already said Trump won. So once we see 3 more electoral votes drop in Trump's camp, it would be official that he won. Excuse me. I'm not answering that. And I'm not seeing any more results on Electoral. CBS is predicting Trump pretty much. Yeah, it's still not out there. It may take another couple hours till they get these things finished and counted. California went all the way for Kamala, which is pretty scary. California's got a lot of people. A lot of people. And that could be pretty scary. So I think we're going to see Netanyahu change the chief of the IDF next. And then give it a few days so he could get with Trump, I guess. And Trump and him may have already made arrangements, but I don't think so. Trump had his hands full, you know. And Trump's going to be extremely busy. I mean, there's going to be a big banquet ball, and then he's got to keep meeting with different people, and you know, it's going to take a few days to get to sit down with Netanyahu, I'm afraid. Now Netanyahu may just already have worked it out with Trump, and he's going to attack Iran, which we have to do because, see, Iran's trying to buy time. They're trying to get more radar to guide their missiles to kill us. Okay, and they're trying to bring more weapons into Hezbollah in Lebanon to kill us. And they're trying to bring more weapons into Iraq and Syria to kill us. So Iran is 100% warmongering. And they're probably thinking, well, if we get enough weapons into Hezbollah and into Syria and into Iraq, they could devastate Israel sufficiently so we won't get attacked by them. And then we can come in with a ground invasion safely and destroy Israel. They want to destroy our aircraft, anti-missile systems and stuff like that. So I think Israel will not target the nuclear facilities because it's stupid. Unless America wants to use the B-52s to bomb them, which Biden may do. And we'll hit I don't believe there is any remaining radar, so we're going to hit military targets, fortified bunkers where their government people are, missile storage, more missile factories, ammunition factories, drone storage. Russia said they're going to give Iran warheads that have chemical weapons in them. Yeah, Putin said that. Now, if you think Israel doesn't have chemical weapons, you should think again. Biological weapons are more or less not very effective. It's the chemical weapons. They use chlorine gas, typically. That's what Russia uses. That's the one they like to use. If they do that, Putin's going to go after Russia. The first thing is every Russian base in Syria and Navy base is going to be destroyed. And then all kinds of, not only weapons, military intelligence help is going to wind up going to Iran, and the Russian army is going to be very, very, very much in trouble. Okay? Which NATO will greatly enjoy and probably support Israel. So we would hit military bases, military airports, and we might hit the ports and the piers where they transfer the oil into the ships. We may not blow the refineries up, or we might, and that cuts Iran's cash flow off to like nothing. And that means, I mean, did you ever go out and buy a suit of clothes made in Iran, or a television, or a car, or a motorcycle, or an oven, or a dishwasher, or a refrigerator, or, you know, or carpet, or, you know, you got nothing. All they do is they suck money up from the oil, and they make war. They're a bunch of psychopaths. These people belong in a hospital for the criminally insane that are so disturbed they're not competent and they can't be tried in court because of their incompetence. That's the leaders of Iran. I'm being serious. They're mentally ill. Really, they are. They're in a delusional system. and they don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of revolutionary threat going on in Iran. I'm not sure Biden's got the guts to actually go through with attacking Iran, but he might want chaos now. Biden and the Democrats may want chaos. So I don't know. If you consider that Biden wanted, the two of them, you know who the O is, wanted to destroy America with the illegals or change America, they may decide that now their best move is to throw America in wars against Russia, Iran, and China and North Korea, and decimate the American military so Trump doesn't have what to work with and won't be able to affect his plans. Don't underestimate the evil of the Biden administration or Biden. Don't underestimate how evil they are. And you know, this could go on. Biden and his elite have a vested interest in destroying BRICS before it gets going, or their wealth will be decimated by the devaluation of the dollar. And BRICS will take it down, not 6 or 8 or 10%. That'll get them mad for sure. But BRICS could take them down, you know, 40, 50, 60% more, and cripple America and make America initially a second world country, which it just about already is, and then a third world country. I think America is a second world country now, compared to what it used to be. So you're going to see Israel become more aggressive in the coming days, and we'll see what happens with that. And I think all of us are going to have to watch and wait to see what happens in America post-election with Trump. And the sleeper agents got a vested interest in doing something before Trump gets taken into office, because he's going to be very problematic for them. Not only will he close the border, he's going to start rounding them up. And he's going to start rounding up the most dangerous ones. Not the ones that are just, you know, hiding in some relative's house and minding their own business. We got 2 toss requests here. One for AS, Alpha Sierra AS, and another one for MM, like M&M's, MM, Mike, toss. Now, I would like you guys to do toss, endless salad, whole enchilada. For some people attempting to fraud me and my wife, they call us up on the phone, they don't tell us who they are, they ask us for information, and we ask them why, and they tell us some nonsense, and then they impersonate being the post office and stuff like this. So I don't have names of these people. So the people that are trying to perpetrate a fraud on me and my wife, I would ask you to do endless salad and whole enchilada on them. Don't throw the whole kitchen sink at it, and keep it coming, and I will too. And they'll realize they're getting hit from many, many people, many different sides. And I don't even know what the game is. I have no idea. But we'll find out. You know, I'm not going to talk to them anymore. I got them blocked. And I don't know what the game is. A lot of this fraud can come out of Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, where they get Israel's SIM cards in your phone and they call. And they could create fraud because you can't prosecute them. But these were using caller ID blocks, so they're probably not over there. Israel has a lot of corruption. I don't think the court systems are always as clean as I would like them to be, let's put it that way, in my opinion. And I don't know what this is. I don't have any idea. It's probably something to do with the broadcasts. Okay, I'm pretty sure it is. And that's pretty much what I got. So I'll keep you updated, but these are the times to pay very close attention. And you know, all the trouble in the world is probably going to go first with Israel. You know, in the world it says to the Jew first, then the Goyim, and it talks about the good and the bad. So the bad has been happening to Israel since October 7th for a long time, but it got very bad October 7th, 2023. And we're in recompenses, and that's going to lead us to redemption. So we're getting closer and closer to redemption, and we'll see what happens. We may need to do some more spiritual warfare. I'll keep you posted if I think it's a good time to do it on different countries. But right now, I don't know. Let's just wait and watch. It might be a good time to give a little tossed salad and whole enchiladas to the Biden administration. It's certainly not going to hurt. And that's what I got for now. So please pray for me, Moshe, my wife. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing. Keep praying for my wife to be healed. It seems to be working. She's doing real good. Pray for our finances. That needs work and needs help. Pray for better videos. Pray for our animals and pets, which are rescues, to be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and we'll see what happens. It's nice if you hit the like button, and if you want updates, the eggs hit the fan. I'll be doing live streams at unusual hours, so you might want to subscribe. And that's what I got for now. So, you know, it looks on the surface that Trump was a good event, but we won't know yet. Let's see how everything works out. Keep watching, and I'm out. Thank you. And I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach.